And then it's my favorite sweatshirt because she gave it to me.
Hello and good afternoon.
Hi.
Welcome to Unlock Harmony. I just wanted to thank Unity Church for giving me the opportunity to host this workshop. So, one thing we need to get clear before we start is that we're not here to talk about furniture. We're here to talk about transformation. So this is going to be an interactive workshop. So I just kind of want to read the room, and anybody want to volunteer and let me know what you think feng shui is.
Maybe getting your energy flow right in your surroundings.
It does have to do with energy flow. Yeah, absolutely. All right, lady in the blue shirt, would you like to volunteer? Not, we'll move around. It's not forced, it's just an opportunity, that's all.
No, and I agree with her. To me, it seems like the energy flow and the feeling of allowing things to happen in your space.
Absolutely. It's definitely about energy flow. Does anybody else have a different understanding that they'd like to share?
I think it feels like a combination of that, but it's also that what you use that has its own energy field.
That is also a part
That is
of it.
brought in.
Absolutely. Feng Shui has to do with the elements that are around us. Okay. So these are all good things. So I just want to kind of dispel any illusions about what Feng Shui is not. Feng Shui is not a religion. It is not about interior decorating. Feng Shui is not trying to sell you little pop trinkets and waving cats to make things change. So it does have to do with energy, but it has to do with the environment. Every environment is composed of the elements of the earth and the things on it. You've got wood, you've got metal, you've got water, you've got earth, and you've got fire. Exactly. So our relationship to our environment is what makes things advantageous or disadvantageous, and all the timing of what we're doing. I mean, it's like if you were a surfer, you know, you want to time your actions with the ebb and the flow of the waves. So in classical feng shui, which I'm a classical feng shui consultant, there's a certain period, there's a certain time, so certain types of elements are going to become favorable or unfavorable. So the environment that we're trying to, a relationship with our environment that we're trying to create is one that we're using timing of those elements, because just like us, we all change throughout time. Everybody and everything, the qualities of those things are going to change throughout time. Does that make sense? Okay, great. So, so it's absolutely not about the religion. It's not about interior decorating. It's an environmental science. The looks of things don't matter, the results do. So many people that I've come across think that feng shui is about the decorating. I mean, and sure, in feng shui, we can put a little spin on it, but that's what decorating is in feng shui. It's spin. There's so much interpretation for the way that you would like to do it. So if I were to be hired by somebody like you, I would come in and say, you know, we need some metal on the wall here. Well, you know, if you like Buddha, you can put a metal Buddha over there, you know, but if you want to put a metal tree, it doesn't matter, you know, but I may suggest we might need, you know, some plants over here. Well, ultimately, it really doesn't matter what kind of plants you like. Well, that really depends. In classical feng shui, we don't like spiky, thorny plants, especially near places that we're trying to move through, places that we're trying to relax. So now we're going to take a look at the invisible forces that are scripting. This has to do with the elements that we talked about, but because the elements have their own energy, so feng shui is about the environment, the energy, and the action. So if you're in the wrong place at the wrong time, it's going to be a long time coming before opportunity comes knocking on your door. So knowing better is not sufficient to do better. So many people know the right thing to do, but they just don't feel like it, or they don't want to do it. So feng shui changes the way that you feel, or that people feel in a certain place. And when you change the way that you feel, then you'll begin to do better or discover how to do things better, because people that feel good are people that are curious, that are vibrant, that are active, that are actively exploring their environment in new ways about doing things. And lastly, it really is about the action. So feng shui is not magic. It's not going to do things for you. Feng shui will propel you and fuel your transformation in life, but it can't do it without you. It's like a car. You know, so feng shui, and this is a nice little segue, it's kind of moving a little faster than I thought, but So feng shui, what we're gonna do today next is we're gonna kind of open up the floor. It's gonna be a kind of a Q&A thing, and I'm gonna ask a couple of you, what type of questions, what brought you out today? What would you like to take away from today? You know, what's kind of that burning question in your mind? In order to kind of qualify this, so there is form school feng shui, which is what we're going to be discussing and teaching today. Form school feng shui has to do with, it is about the way that things are arranged for more of a utilitarian purpose. And the analogy of a car, it's like inflating your car's tires. It's about getting that engine running, and this can really change a lot. But even though you've got a car, the engine works, the wheels are ready to go, you still might not be going anywhere because you still need the keys and you need gas to propel that. And so when we're talking about classical feng shui, is a little bit harder. We're not going to talk about that because classical feng shui is not a generic purpose. It is very specialized. Just like every building has a specific birth date, you've got a move-in date, it's got a specific location, it's got a specific facing direction. And so we're all unique, and because we're all unique, you need classical feng shui to create a solution that is just as unique to you as you are. So form school feng shui is about getting everything just kind of set up. It's a default solution that when you don't know anything else, it's going to be the best thing to do.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
So like where the stars are aligned when you're born would affect you as far as astrology goes. How does the direction have so much effect on everything? I noticed that you had the wheel, and that wheel has so much about north, south, east, and west. Can you
Sure.
talk a little about that?
So I'll touch on that, but that's getting into classical feng shui because these are things that are moving and dynamic. And so I will take this opportunity to kind of show that this, and if you see a person that has got one of these, you know they're a classical feng shui practitioner. This is a Lopan. It is, the compass was actually invented not for the purposes of hiking, camping, or taking boats across the ocean. It was actually invented by feng shui practitioners to measure the electromagnetic field and different elements in the area. So in classical feng shui, we do have a thing called stars, and this has to do with the timing. So that we're going to get down a rabbit's hole with that, but again, the timing of things is important. You know, like with the tides, like us, we change, and we got to try to harmonize our activities with our environment and where we're going. So without going too far, getting too more complicated, muddying the waters, I just wanted to, again, open the floor up to see if anybody had any questions. I do have some prepackaged content. If nobody has any questions, we're going to fill that up for the next 20 to 30 minutes. So let's see, what is your name?
Brenda?
Brenda, do you have any specific goals or questions relating to feng shui?
Not right now.
Not right now,
I'm
okay.
here to listen.
Well, I do, because you brought it up. I have a lot of plans, always have, and I'm not really a succulent person, but my children are, and they've given me so many cacti and different kinds of things, and they're in my writing. Is that gonna be a problem if they're, because you were saying we don't wanna.
Right. So where we put plants is more of a classical feng shui thing, but I can't speak to that as far as form school goes. So anytime that you find, and so this falls into the category of poison arrows. So just kind of flipping this back here. So poison arrows are things that are environmental things that have a direct impact on you. So this is a little tree here. It's not the best example, but we're talking about plants. So if you have something sharp and pointy in your environment, it can give you a sense of anxiety. I mean, especially when you're walking through a door. I don't know how close these cactus are, or cacti, you know, close to your desk, but if you think that you could run into them, or it could even remotely be a problem, then I would move them. And see, the thing is that the real point here to drive home is remotely, because your subconscious mind is always scanning the environment for threats. And so if you find it hard to sit at your desk and to kind of focus, you may be suffering from the poison shot, or the poison arrow, excuse me. It's because no matter whether you're actively paying attention to it or not, your environment is imposing on you and interacting with you in a certain way. Does that make sense? Yeah. So Anybody else have any questions?
About the plants, do they have to be live plants or can they be artificial?
Well,
Because I tend to kill everything I put in my house.
Right. So for the purposes of poison arrows, it doesn't really matter. If it doesn't necessarily have to be a plant. If it's sharp or if it looks unstable or unsteady, these may not be what you would call a poison arrow, but it's a type of shot. Shah translates into English, it's kind of scary, but it's called killing chi. And it's anything that causes you to feel unsettled. Like if you've ever been sitting under like been hiking or climbing a large rock, or whether you've been camping and had this massive tree and thought, man, this thing could fall on top of me. That's what we're talking about. It's killing shot. It's this type of stuff that gives you the anxiety. So this is going to feed into our next thing when it comes to the command position. And so whenever and so these are all gonna kind of flow together. But if you have your bed and you're underneath some beams, overhead beams, they're beautiful, they're exposed, but they tend to be a focal point when you're looking at them, and that is distracting you from a good night's sleep. And from an energetic perspective, it's oppressive, and it can actually cause problems in your body. And if these overhead beams are over, let's say, your marital bed, and it runs between you two, the direction matters. Over time, like one night's not gonna hurt you so bad. But if this is where the bed that you sleep in all the time, this weight is dividing you too. So if you ask yourself, why my husband and I, or my wife and I, why are we fighting so much? If you're having a lot of fights, start to kind of take a look at these things.
Is that true even whether people realize it or not?
So if they're exposed, then again, it's affecting you. We don't always are consciously aware. One of the fun things about feng shui is that people often don't know that they're fighting with their environment. So if it's remotely possible, and your brain is always scanning for threats. You don't want things to fall on you, and you don't want things to poke or burn you. And so whether you're thinking, oh, this is going to do it or not, but ask yourself, am I feeling distracted? Am I anxious? Am I frustrated? Always angry? I mean, because these are the types of things that you may not realize because you're used to it. You put it there, and it's been there forever, but you've had these problems for a long time. So
today, if you're not going to talk as much about classical, is it still appropriate that we're talking about stuff like this, like what brings you together or separates you or
absolutely.
So like if in your bedroom you walk in, they always want you to see, they say that you walk in, your focal point, the first thing you see, well, usually like your bed would be facing out.
Mm-hmm.
But right now, my bed is backwards in the bedroom that I have. So when I walk in, there's a small area, then there's the room. The bed is over here, facing down.
Okay, so
it's kind of nice because I don't see the light as much, but the vibe is, I also don't know if someone walks in as much. So there's a little bit of that.
And that's a good point. So yeah, that is, can definitely be a problem. And in classical feng shui, sometimes there's a place in your house where the energy is the best. And I might suggest to somebody to move their bed over there, and they might not have view of the door, but in classical feng shui, there's always a workaround. I mean, so we want you in the right place. We want you to have good energy. But, and I don't know about the stars and the energy of your place. I've never been there, but let's just say that your bed, we're here, and that's where the good energy is. And this is where your door is. You can't see anything coming in. So what you could do is you could place a mirror there. That way you could see everything coming in. So that is just a little workaround. I'm not suggesting that. The default scenario is that you would have, like, you don't want your bed in line with a door, because, or even your desk. Whenever you have this happening, you feel very exposed, and the longer the hallway on the other end, the more distracting it is. And you just constantly drawn, it's like that 1,000-yard stare. You're like, oh, what was I doing again? And if anything moves, further down the hall, it's difficult to stay focused. And here you are constantly like, oh, you're frustrated, you're behind the 8 ball trying to get things done, and you're just not noticing that it's your environment that is distracting you, causing you to lose productivity. That'll cause friction with your employers. And if you're not able to sleep at your home, who here can have a productive conversation? There's always going to be a difficult conversation, but if you have a horrible night's sleep, it's a lot harder to be present in that conversation and to be able to connect with that other person. So we really want to be able to have our bed in a good spot. This is a bad spot, just to be clear. This is a desk. This is in a good spot. So whether it's your desk or your bed, you do want to have that here. You would like to see the door over your toes. And this is more of a cultural thing. So when the bed is in line with the door, some people call this the death position because it's like you're being carried out on a stretcher. So, but regardless of that, the main thing to take away here is that when you're in line with the door, you're exposed. It causes anxiety, it keeps you distracted, and if you're trying to sleep, it can keep your brain on high alert because you're always wondering if somebody comes through that door, I am right there for the picking. So we want to keep you in a nice spot within your office, within your room, against a nice solid wall. We would prefer not to see windows there. And if you do have your bed in front of the window, the workaround to that is to get a headboard. Headboards, classical feng shui, we love headboards. Headboards can provide support to a marriage, but how big of a headboard do you need? Well, how big the headboard needs to be is to be able to prevent somebody from crawling over that window and into your bed. It doesn't need to go all the way up, but it needs to be to deter people, from, coming through that window. You want to have something that has your back. Does that make sense? It's kind of like the energy is also in our metaphors in life, but when you have that back and you feel supported, it makes you feel safe.
I'm the kind of person who doesn't like to shove up stuff against walls. And so if you have a corner in that room, my bed is not on one wall or the other, it's kind of on a diagonal in the corner.
Mm-hmm.
Is that bad?
Not always. We would have to look at the stars, but as a generalized thing, even in classical feng shui, we use diagonal positions like that sometimes it's where you're at counts, but also the direction things are faces. Think about this, like most of you here are old enough to know what rabbit ears are on your TV, but even if you don't, you're going to have everybody in here has had a signal or reception problem at some point in time. So it's always about where things, are kind of tuned in. You got to wiggle things around to get the right signal. And that's really good because, again, feng shui is not so much about what we see, it's about trying to activate the energy in such a way that it fuels your transformation towards the goals that you want in life.
Do floor vents come into the picture?
Not generally, but feng shui is very base level, is a very practical thing. So if you've got other things, like if you've got dust, and like maintenance is a entry level thing. Like you need to take care of your house. If you've got mold, there's a moisture problem. You need to address that. So in a more profound way, not necessarily. If the vent is not working properly, it might have a more, I would kind of look at that as a sign to see what else is going on there. Because I've been in places where, looking at the stars, I've been able to pinpoint where things are going to break, where water leaks are going to happen, and things like that. Now, I'm not saying I can always do that, but I've done that more than one time. So it's more of an indicator. Now, toilets and stoves, bathrooms, those do come into play.
So what if your bed is in front of the door of the bathroom, like facing the bathroom?
It's
Or a closet?
not, those aren't really, as bad, but it's generally, you really just don't want to have your bed in front of a door or in line with the door if possible. Sometimes that's not possible, so it's the major doors to your hallway, from your bedroom that you're really going to focus on, or from your office. Because we live in a place where, and this is a great point when it comes to, feng shui, there's a lot, you can read a lot of books and like, don't do this, don't do that, but this is a real world, things get messy. And that's the thing is that like, the form school techniques are really good at addressing generic situations because there's always going to be something that doesn't fit,
Now, what does that cause the relationship if the bed is facing a door?
So as far as relationship, the fact that it's in a door, it's affecting your sleep, which affects your health.
Yeah.
And again, if you can't get a good night's sleep.
That's interesting because I just moved into an apartment like 3 months ago and my bed faces it faces the door of the bathroom.
I mean,
And I haven't been sleeping that good since I got
yeah,
there.
so, I mean, I would just close the door towards the bathroom, you know, I mean, bathrooms are always where, I mean, water is flowing away, it's a drainage type situation, and so sometimes bathrooms can work out well for you, sometimes they can't, but what I would do is just close the door to your bathroom. I mean, because anytime that you are flushing, you're flushing either good chi away, or you're flushing bad chi, which is a good thing. Anytime you get, you know, rid of poop on the floor, you got a nice clean house, it's a good thing, you know, but just in general, it's a good idea to keep, like, I keep my bathroom door closed, I've got one in my room, I keep my closet door closed, and I sleep so much better. I mean, maybe I'm a little OCD, but if I have that thing wide open, I'm sitting there looking at my closet, I know there's nothing in there, but I'm just like, I don't like it, you know, I close the door, I mean, and so I sleep better, I mean, and I'm somebody that is struggling with insomnia, so something like this can be a big deal, and even if you don't struggle with insomnia, you may not notice it, but I challenge you, close your doors whenever you're sleeping, and just see how much better that you sleep. Try it out.
Moving outside,
Sure.
I have a corner loft and my address is on the busier street. My driveway, however, is on the quieter street. The issue that I have a question about is there is a sidewalk from the front door going basically to the mailbox, the busy street, which no one can stop there except, you know,
What do you mean no one can stop there?
it's a busy street, so.
Oh, you mean there's no,
There's no driveway,
car.
a car cannot, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So what is the energy flow then if you have like a direct path out of your front door like that? Cause I was just looking at your T-junction.
Yeah.
And the road, and so does that impact some kind of prosperity energy that it's
Absolutely.
going right out the front door?
As far as your door goes, it's not, your door is probably facing a really good direction, but how close is your house to the street?
It's probably back, I wanna say 100 feet. I mean,
Okay,
it's back.
yeah,
I have an acre, so it is
Okay.
back, but I've been, putting up shrubs, I've totally,
that's good.
so that I have more of a privacy buffer.
Yeah,
And I really don't like that sidewalk because I can take a walk and go around the corner and get my mail.
Yeah.
And so I just feel like maybe it just bothers me from a design, there's no purpose for this sidewalk other than to walk to the mailbox, which I don't care about.
okay, yeah. So what is the question?
Is that an energy flow that I need to do more to kind of break that straight line out of the front door to the busy street?
I see. So, I mean, that sounds like it's a really long sidewalk, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. So really long, you'll notice that there's very few, almost none, long straight lines in nature. You know, so long straight lines cause chi to move very fast. And so it can, when it's something that long, it can be something that's disruptive. It's not the same as having your house at a T-junction with a road, but it is drawing a lot of energy really fast. I mean, it's getting a lot of momentum when it comes up to your door. So there are some feng shui techniques that cost nothing. Some of them cost a little bit, some of them cost a lot. But I would just recommend, you know, getting rid of the sidewalk. And you said something that is really good intuitively about putting up the plants there. We're gonna get a little bit more into the classical side of feng shui, but just a little bit more. We like to look for what's called the four animals, or the four celestial animals. And one of them that you're describing is you want to have either a low foothill, a fence, or some shrubs right by the road, because roads tend to be very fast moving. And so you want to, and that's, we want energy to come to our house, but we don't want it to sweep us away. You'll notice in neighborhoods where there's a small distance, you know, between there, that things throughout the years it can be kind of a dicey, you know, neighborhood. I mean, sometimes like in East Nashville, it got a little bit better, you know, but it's, you know, you still are so close to the road that the headlights, you feel like people are looking in your window, and that's called peeping Tom shot. So you'd like to have a fence in front of you, something that allows the energy to slow down and collect. So when you come out your door, it's relaxing, it can slowly enter your house, it's not just sucking stuff away. We also, in feng shui, we like to see looking out the door, you want to see a hillside or at least a house called the Green Dragon. And that supports yang energy, and traditionally, that would be a hillside. You would have one here, and the Green Dragon supports yang energy, which is male, helps with business. And on the right side, you'd like to see a slightly lower hill called the White Tiger. And the White Tiger and the Green Dragon and the Red Phoenix, and also you'd like to have a hill behind you. You don't want to be on top. But what this does, it's like an armchair. You know, you've got something for your arms, you've got support behind you, you've got something to kind of relax with your feet on, the Red Phoenix out front. But what this does is it protects you from high winds. It allows wind to come in nice and gentle, collect, whether it's a stream or if it's just the wind. And so it gives you support from the back and all sides, but it's not stifling. So those are a very general concept with classical feng shui, but it applies. You know, you don't want to be too close to the road. Those fences, those shrubs give you that sense of protection. Does that help?
Yes, it does.
Okay.
What if you're on like the fifth floor of a building?
So when you're up higher, so there are what they call lung mai in classical feng shui, and these translates to dragon veins. And so energy moves through the earth, and wherever you're at, the energy is coming up into your house from the earth. And there's also celestial energies that happen, but the higher you are from the earth, the longer it takes to get up there, and also the weaker that signal tends to become. Like you should absolutely still try to address it, but the higher from the ground you are, you're further away from our mother, and the earth is grounding. So it's not a bad thing. In some ways it can help you with wealth, but again, it takes a little bit more time. I mean, like your average turnaround for when you're doing wealth cures or wealth formulas and cures, I mean, you can see a pretty quick turnaround in like as little as a week. You know, I mean, some people, if they move their bed in the right spot, they're sleeping better that night, you know. So the further you are from the ground, you know, things like that are going to be more of a problem.
If you have a small bedroom and you're kind of limited, but you have like a queen size bed, I mean, should you downsize your bed to try to?
I would, yeah. So goes, when you feel cramped, then you're going to feel overwhelmed, you're going to feel a sense of confusion in your environment. I mean, we don't like that. We like to have movement. I mean, and this has to kind of do with another concept in form school feng shui called the mouth of qi. So when you find, whether it's a window or a doorway or your bedroom, when it's cluttered, it's stopping energy from circulating around. So in order for your wallet to grow, your space has got to be able to breathe. So if you've got plants that are covering your windows, or a big tree like this one in front of your door, they need to be relocated or removed. So not only do overgrown or tall plants attract pests to your house, I mean, you're going to find mosquitoes and all that kind of stuff, but it also attracts thieves, because whenever they can get in between your window and a plant, it's just not a good idea. So whenever you open that stuff up, you're going to feel a sense of clarity, a sense of peacefulness, and you're going to be able to move, you're going to be able to concentrate. Go ahead.
Speaking to clutter, a long time ago, a interior decorator told me that if you clutter up if your house is cluttered up, or your room's cluttered up, it clutters your mind.
Absolutely.
It's so true, because I mean, I get cluttered all the time, every place, and I'm telling him, I can't think straight, because I see all this clutter in my head.
Right.
So clean it up, and it's a lot better.
Yeah. I was thinking about that in the presentation, but your environment is a reflection of your mind. I mean, so the greatest things that when you're thinking, going throughout life, you know, if you're at your office and you find yourself or your coworkers fighting constantly, unable to, you know, hit your sales goals because there's this infighting, or you're unable to connect with your clients, there's loud noises, distractions. These are excellent indicators that you're in a place that's got some bad feng shui, and a good indicator that either you or those people could benefit from that. I mean, I've worked in a corporate photography studio where there was layer on layer of problems, but one of them was infighting, and they were this was during COVID. And so once I took the CFO's office and moved it into the right spot, and then moved some other desks around, put in some water formulas, they went from having a deficit to, I think in the first year, this was a large corporation, to having like $2 million, and this was during COVID. So, when you're not fighting, you can be more productive. Whenever you are not fighting, you can focus on that connection with your clients. Whenever you're not confused or distracted, you're getting more work done. So whenever you feel these things, experience these things you're fighting in your relationship, you can look at that and ask yourself, what's going on in my environment? You know, where's my your desk at? You know, where's your bed at? Do you have anything that's sharp and pointy? You know, is there anything in the room that could be divisive, like an overhead beam or like one of these? So this is the reason why I'm standing in front of this, because I didn't want to stand behind there, because it just kind of feels like just a few steps back that I'm somewhere way farther away, you know, so, so just kind of think about that. Does anybody else have any?
My biggest thing in my neighborhood is just my next door neighbor in the front yard. I can't, you know, can't look at it, and I need a diversion or something to keep me from noticing.
Okay. I mean, there's nothing wrong with, in terms of form school, by just using, you know, something to block that view out. There's often things in classical feng shui that can really help create better stuff, but I mean, it's impossible for me to give you any meaningful advice without being there.
Landscaping, maybe,
Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely, yeah. Okay.
You know, I've been doing feng shui principles since we remodeled our house like 20 years ago. So my corners, I've got chimes or I've got plants hanging down. You know, I'm doing everything like I'm supposed to, but I'm at a point now where I kind of feel stagnant with it.
Mm-hmm.
And my main thing is I need to find out what I need to change or what I need to do. I keep things clean, and you know, everything has worked so far, but I just feel stuck now.
So, I mean, this is kind of a good segue, because we're going to wrap up, you know, this little bit, this section here. So the thing I would ask is, because whenever somebody works with me, one of the things because when somebody says they feel stuck, that's a good indicator that they need help, but it doesn't have a lot of information behind it. So when there are some people, I've worked with them before, but I've realized it's a bad fit. They're really just looking for decorations. And if that's what you want, there's a lot of people that will sell you, you know, all kinds of stuff for that. So in order to give more meaningful advice, you got to start to think about, and if you haven't done this in a while, what are your goals? Because your environment is going to support those goals. And so if you're feeling stuck, that's a good indicator that you may be out of time, you know, with your environment and the goals that you currently have, because your goals should change throughout time. So it makes sense that you might feel a sense of stuck, but bringing a sense of clarity and clarification to that would be, you know, something that you might want to do. And then start to think about, you know, so thinking about what are your goals, what do you want, and what are the strategies that you want to, that you're going to employ to get there. Because it's real easy to say that you want something, but that's wishful thinking. Whenever you start to think about how could I do it, then all of a sudden your mind starts to lock in on how could it be done. And so then based on that, you might, start to have a sense of intuition about what to do. And that's one of the things that I really like about my job, is because as I'm going and doing feng shui consultations, there are so many people that doubt themselves. They're like, oh, you know, I really want to do this, I'm thinking about it. But then I'm like, no, you really need to do that. And it gives them a sense of, I'm encouraging them to do what they think that they should have done. But why don't we do that? Because we're constantly disparaged, and then we start to absorb that type of energy. So whenever I can help people understand, you shouldn't, if you thought you should do that, try that out, you know, does that help?
A little.
Okay.
It just seems like, you know, when you're in a place for so long, things accumulate, and the clutter
There's
is a
that.
big issue right now, and I'm seriously working on eliminating things that, you know, that I know I don't need, I don't want. I'm done. I'm over it. You know, but it's overwhelming.
It is, and that's the kind of the sensation that you get from your environment when you've got the clutter in there. So yeah, it's kind of, you know, when you're looking for your stuff, you know, think about what you need? Is this something that, you know, your kids or your friends, I mean, because if you don't deal with it, then they are.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, you know, that may kind of be like, okay, and what would they really want and deal with? Because, you know, I've actually thought about, you know, that myself. It's like, you know, does anybody really want all this artwork? It's like, you know, it's fun to do, but it's like, you know, no, you know, maybe a couple of pieces, you know, but, so, yeah, I mean, if you've got clutter, then that makes sense. And defining your goals will help you to decide what you need to keep and what you let go of.
Yeah.
One more? Yeah.
So do you think like, is there anything like plants or gemstones or anything like that, if you are up high in a building, to help you feel closer to the earth?
I mean, certainly there are elements that you can incorporate. It's not so much the type, but it's the place. So again, that gets into the classical feng shui. So there are certain earth elements in classical feng shui at this point in time are good, and there are others that are bad. And so it's a very, you know, a specific type of solution. But, you know, I mean, one of the things that you can do is if you go just get you a compass, you're not trying to take a direction, but walk around, or you can go, if you want to spend a lot of money, go get you an EMF meter. But if you start to notice your compass spinning around or doing this and not wanting to sit still, that's probably not a good spot to get grounded.
What's EMF?
Electromagnetic frequencies.
Oh,
Yeah.
really?
So, all right. Everybody enjoying this so far?
Yeah, yeah, thank you.
Okay, excellent. All right. So, in about 30 minutes, we've talked about things that can put air in your tires. We've put ways to fix your engine, but we still don't have gas. And again, that's where classical feng shui and my compass comes in. We can get you the energy that you need to get you driving down the road. But again, it's energy, environment, energy, and action. Feng shui is not magic. You still have to take action, but it gives you that feeling in that environment that will free you up to allow you to do the things that you know you need to do, or to give you that energy to open your eyes to a new set of options. Because when you're depressed, your mind is closed. It's not open. You're not ready, open for business, so to speak. All right. So I touched on this a little bit earlier, and I used to deal with clients that didn't have a clear goal, didn't have a strategy. They were looking for a lowball offer, you know, and they're very hard to please. I mean, because people that don't know what they want, how can you get them what they want? And so here they are looking for this, oh, well, I just want harmony. Well, what's wrong? What's going on? You know, if you don't tell me what's going on, I can't give you that specific solution to help you move forward and have these more harmonious relationships. So I need this information to calibrate these formulas to your specific location and situation that you're in with the people. So, yeah, and so I used to spend, I spent as much as 22 hours drawing up a report, drawing up floor plans. But a lot of the people, I'm not going to say a lot, but more than a few, took these little things, these packets of paper, and they just treated them like art, and they just kind of sat there. And these people ultimately did not get the results they were looking for, even though I spent a lot of time looking at all these formulas. I was working so hard, but they didn't have any skin in the game. They didn't have clear goals. They didn't have a strategy about how to go about it, because they were looking for feng shui like it was magic, like it was just gonna boop, you know, but it's about what you want to do. Again, your environment may distract you, it may cause lots of productivity, but you have to make things better for yourself. When you arrange your environment, it allows that energy to flow. It's no longer just being wasted on time and energy, putting out fires, you know, staring into space. You're actively engaged in what you're trying to do. So, yeah, that's when I stopped really selling reports. I stopped selling ink, paper, drawing, art. And so now what I do is I'm selling, you know, transformation. I started to understand that I need to know, what are your goals? What are your strategies? What are your metrics? Meaning, how do you know when you get there? And what are those road markers that let you know that you're moving in the right direction? And so when people have these, I know that they mean business, because those are the kind of people that I'm looking for. So, and also the other, is what are the, we touched on this, what are the reoccurring problems that you're having? I mean, this is creating that pattern. Whenever I see patterns and I get this information from a client, then I can address that with a very specific solution. So all that information is helpful, and that's the value that I'm bringing to my consultations. And most importantly, what are we losing when we don't address this? You know, sometimes we're like, oh, it's not that big of a problem, you know, but look back over your shoulder. How much time have you spent wasting? How much time have you spent fighting? And how much more time do you want to continue that? You know, so, I mean, is that a big problem? You know, how much is that worth to you? And lastly, who do you become when you win? And this is exciting. This is one of the most fun questions to ask, because when you begin to see a vision of yourself, you know, succeeding, when you have that business, whenever you have that sense of, if you feel like your family's drifting apart, you know, and you're able to draw them in, then it can really help. I mean, I've got some, you know, family issues, you know, myself, but a lot of these problems can be addressed by looking at your own space. I worked with one family who had a teenage daughter who was like 12 or 13, and slowly but surely over time, you do that again, started drifting off into a room, and then he had me come in there. I looked at their house. We did the feng shui for the whole house, because you really have to, feng shui is holistic. If you want to feng shui a room, you're not going to get the big picture. You're not going to get all the results. So we made some other changes, but one of the big things that we did was addressing the living room space and made it more inviting, so she could be in there but not engaged. And what did this father want? He wanted to spend time with his daughter. He didn't have to be sitting there board games the whole time. But this man was over the moon happy that all of a sudden she crept out of her room, sat down on the couch, and was just hanging out with the family by herself. That's what he wanted. I mean, so these types of things, when you start to envision what success looks like and who you become, you know, after he felt like he was a better father. It wasn't just that he had a better relationship with his daughter, you know, and if you're a parent, then that means something. It helps you sleep better at night. So now, instead of creating art and wasting ink and paper, the way that I do things now is I do what is called a live calibration. So whenever I deal with people, I'm going to get your information down, and then we're going to set up a date. And when I go there, we're going to do a walkthrough either virtually or, you know, in person. And I'm going to sit there and I'm going to give you the formulas that you can change things that day. I mean, if you want to do it that day, you can do it that day. And you're also responsible for taking down the notes. You can record it, you can write them down. But again, people that, I mean, so many times I've had these reports like, people say, I don't have this report. You paid good money for this. Why don't you have the report? You know, so people that have skin in the game, like feng shui can lead you to the door, but you've got to walk through. You've got to participate in your own transformation. And so whenever you begin to write these notes down, then one, it lets me know, does what you said and what you're writing down, does that match? And that helps me dial things in. It's not about judgment. It's about helping me understand what you really value. Because when I understand what you really value, I can make that happen for you. But I really need to know what is true. I need to know what really matters to you. So, transformation does require commitment. And if you're willing to commit, then I'm willing to commit with you. So, again, I mean, if you're looking for a quick fix, if you don't know what your goals are, you don't know what your strategy is, then it's kind of like Alice in Wonderland, the Cheshire Cat said, if you don't know where you're going, then any road will take you there. So that's really important. And then understanding, you know, how much is this costing you? I mean, there was a philosopher, his name was Voltaire, he says, you know, you will begin to live a life of quiet desperation, in reference to are you giving up on your business? Do you have energy? Are you distracted, laying lethargically on the couch, not using your God-given talents? I mean, how much of this world, sorry, I've got to read my notes because I wrote it down really well there. Is it costing you peace of mind? Are you sick and tired of being sick and tired? are you losing the opportunity to start a business, to share your vision and the gift that the world needs and wants? Because there is something that you do that the world needs and wants, whether it's music, playing guitars. Just imagine how much of your life, how it would be different if there was no music. It would be quiet, it would be eerie and uncomfortable. So you do have gifts and talents that the world needs and wants. All right, so, and how much is that worth, to you? Because then it's really nice, because my business really started to change once I started doing more of the coaching. So this comes into the packages because it feels good to care. So I've got a couple of different ways that we can work together. And the very first option is my premium package. So, and it's for those who want immediate results, accountability, that want to stay ahead of the curve for year-round support that's managing life's unexpected changes, whether that's a new job, if you've got some good feng shui, it's likely to happen, a new family, renovation, or structural repairs, or feng shui updates, because feng shui does change with time. So this package includes the live calibration, the accountability coaching, and what I mean by that is, and for all these packages, before I leave, I'm going to ask you, what are the next steps? When are you going to do them? And then who has helped you do these, or who can you get to help you? And then when I get that information, I'm going to write it down. And for the first two packages, then I'm going to follow up with you, because it's part of the accountability coaching. I'm going to reach back out to you when you said you were going to do that. I'm going to say, did you do that today? And if you say no, that's all right. I'm going to say, well, when can you do that? Who can you call? Who else can you call? I'm getting that information down. I'm writing it down, and I'm going to follow up with you to hold you accountable, to make sure you do that. Because if you decide, again, it's about skin in the game. If you don't do the stuff that I've worked so hard to craft for you, then you're not getting the results. And that's sad, because I'm charged this premium package, it's got a premium price tag with it. And also that looks bad on me. So I need people that are, really serious about making some serious changes. They've got a game plan together to make those changes happen, because if you're not, it's not worth the price, So that package starts out, and that also includes 365 days of support. So that's a full year. So that package starts at $7,500. The next package is what I call the implementation. And so that offers you the live calibration. It's for those who want insurance on their results. Live on the spot, we give you that calibration, and then I help you execute with your accountability coaching. And then periodically we'll check back with you with a video call, just to make sure that they're in the right spot. I mean, it's a big difference when you're talking about, did you do it, and did you do it right? So that's, whether it's a video call or you'd like me to come out to, verify those things, that's what you're getting in the implementation package. You're getting the action plan, you're getting the coaching, and you're making sure that things are done right the first time. Because a lot of people, just like when you're sick, you can read things and try to do it yourself. How much time and energy you're wasting whenever you try to do it yourself, and it's not working the way that you had hoped. So you're getting results, you're getting them speedy, they're going to be accurate the first time. And so that starts off at $3,500. And then the very last package is the live calibration. This is for self-starters. Like, if you know that you don't need me to hold your hand, through something, then that's perfectly fine. I'm all about that. I love to see people thrive. It's like, fire and forget. I just let go and watch them go. Who doesn't love to see that? It's like watching a kid go play sports. You go see him knock a ball and hit a home run. You're like, hey, they got it. This is great, But it's definitely the least expensive option, but it opens the door to your transformation. We do the deep dive interview. And again, before I leave, then I'm going to help you come up with your action plan, so you've got clear steps on what to do, when to do it, where to do it. So it's not like I'm just turning you loose. You get an action plan before you leave. It's just that you're not paying for the coaching. So we'll map the energy. I tell you where the landmines and the gold mines are. You buy the keys, you get the map, and you drive the car. And so that starts at $1,500. And so, again, I gotta just remind you, what are you losing when you're not solving the problem? And my prices are high because I solve expensive problems. And So now, this is the closing, this is the takeaway. I just wanna look around the room, if you wanna volunteer, fine, if not, I'll call about what you got out of this. And looking at your worksheets, one of the things that you think that you can do tonight. So, any volunteers? Nope. Gentleman in the black jacket, did you get anything out of this today?
I guess I did, I read a book way back in the nineties about feng shui and positioning of furniture and, the flow of things and all that stuff. But, I can't remember if it talked about like no pointed plants, like smooth type plants. So that was, good, that was good input.
Yeah.
And then, and I don't know if we talked about this either, not so much clutter, but things that are just not, neat, or positioned neatly. And that affects how we feel.
Absolutely.
And how it drains, I guess drains our energy too.
Oh, it does.
It's always like lurking there,
Yeah, you're constantly tired, and it's like,
Yeah.
man, I gotta do what today? And this house looks like a bomb went off, it's not motivating, yeah.
Or even if I'm not aware of it that much, I mean, in the back of my mind, I guess I am.
Yeah,
but
you get
you're
used
not-
to it.
Or paying any attention to it.
Right,
So that's good input.
yeah, excellent, all right. Starting to become aware of your environment and how it impacts you, for better or for worse. I mean, what I love is, I like to keep a clean house. After I get done vacuuming, and I get done cleaning my aquariums and, mopping, I come home, it looks good, I'm like, woo, this is inviting. You just jump down on the couch and you feel that guilt-free relaxation. So, even things like that, and it's your environment, it's impacting you, and that's feng shui. All right. Mom? Sorry, Seal?
I learned a lot, even though you're my son and you've actually come over and done what do you call that thing?
The now I'm calling it calibration, because it really is just about getting you aligned with your environment right then, that day.
Right. But I have to admit, I've been guilty of just being, I guess, impatient and thinking, this should have happened already. Or why did this happen? That wasn't very good. And I did, most everything said that I could do.
Right.
And so I think maybe I've learned, I hope, to not be so impatient and, like you said, let things, I don't know.
And like what, I said to Kay here, if it's a reoccurring problem and you've done these things, you gotta think about, do I have a goal? What is my goal? What would that look like? And what can you do to facilitate that? Because the feng shui is giving you the energy to help you do it, but you still gotta do it. Yeah, the strategy, that is, you've gotta work the system. So.
I think it's good to write it down like you have.
It is, it's
I've never
very
written it
helpful.
down, and now
Yeah.
I started writing something down, I'm like, no, I can do that.
Right, it gets it out of your head, yeah. Right. Okay,
You gotta deal with me.
deal with it.
Me.
Oh.
I guess I'm a wreck. My desk at work is cluttered, my room that I have all my stuff is everywhere.
Right.
So it's hard for her, I guess, because I've got my bills stretched out on the counter in the kitchen.
Stand it.
Right.
So, I don't know, maybe I can do something to help. It's
I'm not trying to air so much business, but this is a good opportunity, just something like very practical. Some people are disorganized and some people are just organized differently. So whenever you see a pile of something and you're just not going to move that pile, then bring something there to organize that pile. Because if you're just going to set your shoes in front of the door, put a shoe rack there. It doesn't mean you're a bad person. Just put a shoe rack. I'm not saying
well, no, I've been this way for years.
Oh, I know, but finding a way, like if this is the way you're going to be, then finding a way to manage it just a little bit better. Again, you're going to be able to find things. You're going to feel good about it. It's going to reduce friction in relationships. So it's a good thing to address.
I think that's a valid point. When you live with someone and they're opposite or different, and then you're concerned about it, and they aren't concerned about it.
Exactly.
Then that's an issue.
And again, looking at those other things, you know, like, I mean, where do you spend a lot of time? Because that's what's affecting you the most. You know, look at those areas. Do you have anything that's overhead, a sharp corner of a nightstand? I mean, this is more on a subtle level, you know, I mean, but for those of you that are very energetically aware, you might feel something, you know, coming from a large bookshelf that's over your bed or right behind your office chair, or if you just got a sharp corner of a wall that's just a little bit too close, you know, or even running through a room. I mean, it doesn't have to be a big beam like this. If you've got a corner, and there are some really weird shaped, you know, rooms where they've got a little wall here and it goes this way, but it's not a hallway, but you're just kind of, you know, it's like you can find ways to soften the edges. I mean, a great way to do it is you can, and again, this is generic advice, you can put a plant there. You can use, if you want sparkly stuff, you can use tassels, you know, and have it going down there. There's a lot of different ways you can do it. You can structurally do it. You can put a sheet there, you know, or whatever you would like. There's so many different ways to address these problems, but just soften the sharpness, and soften the glare, you know, and also try to arrange where that corner is not dividing people, or that overhead beam, or a post or a pillar, you know, it's not pushing people away and separating people.
I think what I got the most out of this today is that we really do need to have the goals, because it's like you said, if you don't know what you want to do different, you know, if you think everything's okay, is it just okay, or are you thriving? And today's meeting really makes you think, what could I do better?
Yeah.
How could I feel better? You know, how could I be happier?
Absolutely, and just to drive this home, because this is a little something about me, is that I was watching this Mel Robbins podcast on YouTube, and she was talking about the difference in her and her daughter. Mel Robbins, you've got a podcast, go check her out, she's great. But she was talking about, like, I felt so bad about myself, I had anxiety and I would shut down, you know, and I would just kind of sit there. But as I started to write things down on paper, it's like and I kept trying to say, what I'm trying to do is just relax. I'm just trying to relax. But what I really wanted was something to do. I wanted to focus, you know, and so as I started to come up with a strategy, all of a sudden the goals became clear, the ways and means to do that, and then I was off and running. And so I found that when I'm not doing that, I don't have clarity. I don't have a clear enough goal, don't have a clear enough strategy. So, I mean, if you like what you're hearing, I'm actually writing a whole series of books around feng shui, the elements, and how it correlates to the natural decision-making process. That's a whole other thing. So.
Wow.
I want one.
Okay, one last one.
Let us know when you get this book out.
Okay, yeah.
I learned a lot just listening to everyone else's questions and stuff, but thank you for answering mine.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Can I ask one more?
Sure.
What's that house with the two roads on either side of it? What does that mean?
So this is a T-junction, and
No, the one next to it.
I understand this is about contrast, and so this is gonna make more sense in just 1 second, okay?
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, so this T-junction is, not only has it got a lot of energy, what she was, I don't remember the woman's name, but Stacy was talking about a sidewalk. The sidewalk is more of an energetic thing, but this is about wealth, it is about security. Go Google this. People that live at the corner of a T-section, it's quite common. There's some drunk driver, somebody falls asleep at the wheel and they run into your house.
Exactly.
Yeah, and while we're talking about this, I want to talk about the form school feng shui, is that with the tree here. So before I go, this is an example of a good neighborhood layout where you can find security and safety. You don't have roads barreling down at your front door. That can cause oppression, anxiety, again, things that you may not be consciously aware of, but it's hard not to look out your window and you see a car go, oh, you know, so it's distracting. You know, what else could you be doing if you weren't being scared poopless, you know? So trees that are close enough to your house, if they fall on your house, you need to think about this. So I've had people, I don't want to kill a tree, replant it. I don't want to move the tree, it's so pretty. If that's the case, then you need to have an arborist come out on a regular basis, because I know you love your trees, and whoever that of you may be, but when it falls on your house in a windstorm, you're going to be out tens of thousands of dollars potentially. Talking about wrecking your day, it's going to wreck the next couple of years of your life. So,
What if you have a parking lot behind your house?
That's one of those classical feng shui, it depends. You know, parking garages in general are not necessarily, or not really generally a positive thing, they're not necessarily a bad thing. Classical feng shui just generally doesn't like vast empty spaces, you know. Yeah. So, all right, moving right along. You're welcome. Yeah, so write down, take a sheet if you haven't already, and you know, write down one thing that you took away from this, something that you can do for yourself tonight. Declutter, and when it comes to decluttering, it's often the hardest part is getting started. So just set a timer for 5 minutes and just do it, and then go get yourself a bowl of ice cream or whatever you want after that. Reward yourself. You know, you've done something good. But you know, but yeah. So write the thing you want to do tonight, which you can do tonight, and then if you would do me a favor, you can also send me an email and let me know how that feels. Denise, can I?
You sure can.
Share?
I was actually gonna say, he spent time walking through our whole church and through the offices. And he gave me one suggestion to do in my office, and it has already helped me immensely. Feels totally different. My flow of work is different. So thank you.
You're very welcome.
He knows what he's talking about.
Thank you. Yeah.
Flow is the word.
And,
He told me to add a water feature, so if
Yeah.
you haven't been in my office since I added it, you need to come see.
Oh,
Yeah.
You love water feature.
I have a question about the water feature.
Mhm.
I have one in my office, but whenever I have it in operation, my clients are, ooh, that makes me wanna go pee. So I stopped.
Right.
I haven't had that problem yet.
So I stopped having it going, but you know, people in other offices around me have those sound machines. And to me, it sounds the same as the water feature.
Right. Well, there's a lot of people that feel that way, and like consciously, I'm like, who cares? But like honestly, if I hear the trickling of water going on the unconscious level, I'm like, woo! You know, if I don't have to pee, I don't have to pee. But it's like if there's something in the tank, it's coming out.
Yeah,
You know,
I have it there
but-
to have a calming effect.
Right.
It's not.
But you can still, and that is a legitimate concern when it comes to water features. If you pick one that makes too much noise, there are water features that are quiet. Britannia?
There's a workaround with water features.
Yeah, if you're looking for a water feature, she can help you out. She's very creative, very resourceful.
Is it the placement of the water feature that is maybe her problem?
It could also be part of the problem. So when it comes to classical feng shui, the reason why I have kind of skated around the issue of water is because water represents life, but it also represents danger. So whenever we place water haphazardly in classical feng shui, it can have a wide range of effects, and either they're really good or they tend to be really bad. You know, you can have, like if it's activating some negative energy, I mean, it can make you sick really fast and kind of keep you there. If you place water in a certain spot, it could cause lawsuits to happen. You're going to get into legal trouble. It can cause bickering, betrayal. I mean, there's lots of things. So water is a good thing, but you want it in the right spot. The same water that you're using to swim in and that you're using to drink is the same water that you can drown in. So water is good. And again, I would love to help everybody out with that, but I'm not going to sit there and try to tell you to go get a water feature without knowing where to put it, because I don't want that coming back on me. So, all right. So lastly, I've got everybody, we're going to use a dual purpose for this. I guess not. Do we have another container?
There's a glass.
Can we use the crystal ball?
Yeah.
Yeah,
No, not
okay.
the,
It's a glass,
not that, not that.
Okay.
Glass.
Okay, I might have to have an assistant because I got big hands. I can put them in, I can't get them out.
You can shake them out.
Yeah,
Maybe swap it with that one.
there we
Think?
go, there we go.
How's that?
Yeah, that works, yeah. And all the donations are going to benefit Unity Church here, so none of it goes to me. All right, so you're gonna place your yellow sticker in there. We're doing the drawing for the 8 mansions. So Yeah, I would go ahead and fold it. So what 8 mansions is there's feng shui for your exterior, oh, that, you, yeah. So there's feng shui that applies to the exterior environment, there's feng shui that applies to the inside of your house, but there's also feng shui that applies to the individual. And I was speaking before everybody got in here that it is similar to astrology, except it's very simplified, and it gives you your good and bad directions, ones that you can use if you're having a bad day or you're feeling under the weather. I went to school to the lineage of feng shui called, well, the man's name was Yap Ching Hai, and this is part of the Wu Chang Pai lineage. And Yap Ching Hai said,
They got something yet? Okay.
Oh, we're doing this?
Use your name tag.
no, the money that we're doing the eight mansion drawing. So he actually had some kids. Just put your name on it, we'll draw it.
A name on
There you go.
it. Does it show what to
Or if
do?
you have your
Yeah.
name tag, you take your name tag off.
So he had 2 kids that kept getting sick again and again.
So, thank you.
You're welcome. She needs a post-it note, okay. And so he got into, thank you, Larry. So when he was first getting into feng shui, oh, thank you.
Who else?
He ran across a practitioner that gave him his 8 mansion directions and his for his kids. So he didn't know anything about the flying stars and all this kind of stuff, and put their head in the right direction. And he said, you know, the medical treatment started to take. So there are kids who had all these constant chronic medical conditions. But when it comes down to, I mean, it's a great tool to have whenever you're traveling. Whenever I'm doing a consultation, I'm actually using that to help you understand how your house or your business, the structure itself, is impacting you. So also, Yap Ching Hai said, what can you do for a homeless person? He doesn't have a bed, he doesn't, have a stove or anything like that. He says, but what you can do is give him his 8 mansions and show him the direction to lay his head, maybe somebody will help him and come give him a job. So that kind of, a nice little story, kind of ties around what your good and bad directions are. So you're gonna have one for money loss, you're gonna have one for relationships, one for, split ups. You have one for frustration and one for stability, and one for health and also one for sickness. So, I mean, just like the light of candles to cast a shadow, that feng shui's Taoist, so you're gonna have an equal and opposite, direction for each one of these. All right. And I'll give you a card that you can take home. That way you'll have your 8 mansion direction.
Hey, Brad.
Yes.
What is 1? I'm sorry, I must have, my brain cut off for a second. You want 1 for health, 1 for sickness, 1 for?
A direction. One means
direction,
A.
okay.
All right.
Direction, okay.
All right, so we got Brenda McCourt.
Oh, my God.
Brenda, if you will give me your birth date on there, then I'll calculate or look up your 8 directions. And so what's great about the 8 mansions is you're gonna get an element, and why it's like simplified. You can use this element in the 5 element theory and help you understand how you're going to interact with people around you. Sometimes people that are an element that would normally look called destroy or control you makes a good manager, that may not make a good life partner, but a good manager. So anyhow, so you can look at this, you're gonna find that some like water feeds wood. So this is gonna be a harmonious relationship. One's gonna be the support, one's gonna be the other, but so it just kind of helps simplify things in a way. So, and the elements are a pretty intuitive way. You're like, oh yeah, metal melts, fire melts metal. So you can kind of, it's very intuitive. All right, give me just a moment here.
I'd like to say something while he does his magic. I've had Brad come to my living space, 2 of my living spaces, and also 2 of my business places. And it's, he will come with his low pan, he will find where the energy's congested, he'll be able to tell you where you need your water feature or a metal feature and why, and he'll go by the stars, and he has
that changes every year. So, we're getting ready to come up on a new year, Chinese year, so the elements is moving differently. So I've had him, even when I was, the first place that I lived, I was in a basement. I lived with a friend, and I lived in her basement. And my bed was underneath the beam, and I tried to hide it because I had known it was kind of not an optimal place to put a bed, but it worked at the moment. So I actually kind of tried to hide it with a curtain over it or, fabric. It didn't work. So I ended up moving my bed. Things was a whole lot better after that. Also, in that space, he went around the whole house. It was a 3-story house. I lived in the basement. And he found places, he said, for Tanya, he says, your space is the only space that's really got the best energy. And it's not optimal, but you should consider moving. However, at the moment, I couldn't because of circumstances. But all to say is, I did what he told me to do, and that was 2020 when you came, wasn't it? So, can I talk about the very bad energy and?
Go ahead, yeah, I mean, it's important, I mean, everything like feng shui, when I first got the formula, I'm like, great, I can help people get rich, but I'm like, what am I really doing here? But then I started realizing there is some combinations, some nasty energy, and that's humbling, because I don't like telling people bad stuff, but the good thing is if you know it's there,
You can do something.
You can do something.
Yeah, so at the time, in 2020, I had 2 roommates, a mother, which is my friend, and her son. So right before Brad had came, earlier, about 2 months before Brad came, her son had passed away, got killed in a car accident. The space where he slept was one of the worst energies, and there had been conflict in this family with the brothers all their lives. So it was no wonder how that happened. And of course, we never want to find any of that kind of energy, but it was eye-opening. So on a good note, he told me to put a water feature in a certain space outside. So I did that, and this is 2020. I'm a body worker, so I can't go work on anybody in 2020. Well, the finances started picking up even in 2020 when I set the water feature, because it represented wealth, health, and
In the right spot.
in the right spot. So even though it may sound like it's a big financial commitment, it is a big financial investment for your business, for your health, because his tools are specific to the degrees, like astrology is specific to the degrees of planets and stuff. So I've moved into when I was getting ready to leave the basement. Also, it took 3 floods to get me out of that basement. I stayed there to help my friend go through her transition with it. But anyway, when I was looking for a space to move into, I had 2 options. One space was, I went there myself. And I looked, and I sent Brad the coordinates, and he did the Google Earth thing, and he didn't get back with me right away. So I looked at that space, and I was like, I don't know. Then I sent him another option. So when he told me the first option, he says, you didn't go there, did you, Rotanya? I'm like, no, it just didn't feel right. He says, oh, that's real stagnant energy. It's in a cul-de-sac and blah, blah, blah. So my intuition was right on. But the place that I'm in now, it's been great. And the water feature is where it needs to be. The metals is where it needs to be. And before I even moved into it, I had him come measure it, because I remember him saying that if you set the cures up before you move into it, it's already doing its work before you get into it. So I was like a believer. So I'm like, tell me what, if you tell me to stand on my head in this corner, I'll do it. Hopefully not for long. But it, I mean, it really, really works. I mean, I moved into a better, environment even with my work. So I will say this. My office is not far from here, and Gregory Fisher is my partner in business, okay?
Yeah.
When we figured we were gonna move there, I told Gregory and my other partner at the time, I says, I don't care whether you believe in this or not, I'll bring Brad in here. I will have him go through it, I'll pay for it. So he came in, he looked at our space, he told me where everything needed to go, and I did it. I did the water features, I did the metal cures. Even to this day, I've had people come in our space that are not even clients, international people.
Yeah.
And they're like, what is this place?
Yeah,
Like
it's like a whole new world. I've been there.
It's like it's a wellness center. Wow, it really
Yes.
feels good. But if you walk up to our building, you would never even know it.
No way.
But when you go in, I mean, it's,
A whole different vibe.
so I invite you all to come and check out our
Yeah.
space.
Yeah, you should
She's
just
a
go
great
visit.
massage therapist, so if you've got some aches, pains, and she's not just gonna like make it go away, she's gonna give you some help and support, some tips to help you keep the stuff away. And she knows what she's talking about, so,
But I
Thank
also
you.
love to do water cures and metal cures.
yeah,
So I play with metal,
she's very creative.
and I have a, the workaround with the water cures, it's really easy. Don't let the vastness of maybe I've gotta have a, 100-gallon water or whatever, blah, blah, blah. Don't let it daunt you. It's not really that hard. There's so many easy ways to do it.
Does anybody need to go like right now, because we can close it up, but if y'all are not in a hurry, I'll do one or two more of these and then we can talk a little bit for 2 minutes. Sound good? Okay.
That's 'cause I mentioned the water. I would need to go.
Well, thank you for coming.
Oh, I'm coming
Oh, you're coming back, okay.
Taking a break.
Oh,
The water feature's going up, right, now I'm thinking, and it's true now.
Is it Liza Bird?
Oh, no.
Lydia.
Lydia.
Wow.
Lydia.
Yeah,
Okay.
thank you.
Sorry about that. I know I kind of butchered your name.
No,
but-
believe me, you did very well.
Okay.
It happens a lot.
Okay.
Thank you.
Just write your birthday down there.
On it, on where, on my yellow piece of
Oh,
paper?
yellow piece. I'm gonna go ahead and pull one more instead of
Both those pins, right?
running more laps.
Yeah.
You don't have to put the year down here.
You know, I
And
did, I'm
Stacy
just
Fisher?
proud of it.
There we go. All right. So what your secret is safe with me.
It's rigged, it's rigged.
It's
Michael
rigged.
helped me rig the
I
bulbs.
think I probably need some metal.
Yeah.
Maybe you
Oh.
could talk or something.
She makes.
And put your right age on it. Not the one you use for tender days.
Gold and silver.
You probably have to see his face though.
Yeah.
Well, he'll have to tell you where to put it.
That's why I wanted to buy it.
You guys heard me.
Not the tender days, but the regular. Regular.
Thank you.
For real. I did. That's right, out there.
Especially when he lets me harass him.
Yeah.
Which is
The only thing that I.
It-
she's really.
He needs a life coach, I told him.
Rules.
Yes, I love it.
He needs that from me, and I am generous to
It's more than willing.
She's even generous.
She goes right to the jugular.
Actually, he is so, he sits in front of the energy, air conditioner keep on.
Funny how they find it. So it's just, it's a rotating thing, it just keeps on going.
He just has to be saved by the building and not just for me, but
Brenda, check your phone. I wanna see if they've come through so you can know that we love you.
I've logged my phone once today already.
Yes. Well, it's in the air, it's not on. I mean, she dissipated, but it is. So we still have wars in Pakistan.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's still there.
Holy moly, I've got messages out there.
It's still.
She said to check my messages, I have got messages from 400 people.
Lydia.
Like Lydia.
Jeff, okay.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
This is Stacy.
Stacy Fisher. Yeah, I love little things, and I mean, when you try to remember night, it's like bread without the meat. You don't remember Brad, but you remember this silly little, if you wanna call that a joke, you know, whatever. Excuse me. Okay, yeah. Right.
Has anything come to you yet, Brenda?
I have got all kinds of stuff in the I mean, I haven't checked this.
Well, make sure you check your spam too and don't delete.
Right,
Okay,
so.
what's coming to you? I have got more.
Anybody like to take a look at the low band? Anybody, any interest?
Shopping stuff.
No? Yeah. Just want to show and tell. All right.
I'm still working on the yard.
I think
3 years.
Brenda, you were a one, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Is that good?
Well, you're both good and bad to everybody. So light a candle is to cast a shadow. Thank you for coming in. Thank you, Larry.
Nice to meet you.
I know my Enneagram is 9.
So we'll be discussing a little bit about the mansion here. So if you'll look around, so first off, look in the center of your card, Brenda, your water.
Yes.
That's right, so one means water. This is called, some people call it your life gua, your gua number, your magic life number. It's called, but just think life number. So one represents water and is generally characterized, people that are a one, on the good side can be very intellectual, very good with money at times, but these are all just generalizations. And the other thing is they can also be secretive. So just like where does the depth, the surface begin, and the depth, the surface end and the depths begin, water can get dark. But, so if you look around the outside of your card, Brenda, you'll see these numbers plus 90, minus 80. And I know the writing on here is very small, so, but if you will just look at the numbers, they're much bigger. Your plus 90 is your overall best direction, but it specifically has a connection to money. So, and this is just for a generalization. This is one of the techniques, and there are several that I can use to look at to see how your environment, your home, or your office is going to impact you. But let's say that you're in an office meeting and you're trying to drum up a brainstorm. Try to find that, plus 90 direction if you don't have a consultation, where you've got the whole picture. And you'll find this better ideas are going to come to you. If you're in a hotel room or traveling and things are getting overwhelming, stuck in the airport, you need to meditate. You might want to look at your plus 80 or you're plus 60. The other thing that you can do, and you can use a compass app, you can download one on your phone for free. You can also take a compass direction, like let's say you're feeling overwhelmed. Go ahead and pull it out and figure out what direction you are facing. You might find that you're facing a minus 60, which is frustrations. And so that'll kind of help you understand, what's going on in your environment when you don't have a professional or a feng shui report to look at, or your notes, better yet. So then now we're going to move on to Stacy Fisher. You've got an 8, correct?
Yes.
You should, good, because you should. So 8 is the earth element, and specifically, so do you know much about feng shui? No?
A little.
A little bit. So there's 3 different ways that earth manifests. The earth manifests in a mountain, and in the field, and as the center of the epicenter of everything itself. So the 8 represents mountain energy. So it is right now it's a very good earth energy, but anyway, the earth energies interact with things like water. So in the 5 element theory, the earth destroys water, but it's better said that it limits it. So do y'all work together at all?
We were on the board together.
They were on the board together.
Yes.
Okay, so, I mean, in this situation, and I'm not necessarily trying to err, like business, I mean, she would be in a superior, position to you, not so much that she necessarily is, but you may find that your interpretation of what she says to be very firm in a way that you might be like, oh my goodness, and that may strike somebody else in a very different way.
What are you talking about?
right. So, but to contrast things, Lydia, she is a 4. You've got a 4?
I'm a 4.
A 4. 4 is small wood. It doesn't translate well to either little wood or small wood. But so a 4 is about wind and penetration, and it's also a wood energy. So for you and her relationship, if y'all were to work together, you might actually find that you're attracted to her and you just like helping her out. I mean, you've got good intellectual ideas, and a 4 represents being gentle, malleable, and flexible, which is also overlapping the qualities of water. So there's synergy that's there. And this relationship that you might have with Stacy might be a good one if she's in a management situation, because she doesn't need other types of, not just you, but there's other elements. I mean, it's good that she's in a position of authority, that people feel the weight of her comments well. I mean, if you're in a leadership position and you care about people, this is a good situation. It's just that's the 5 element cycle. When you say it the way it reads, it sounds dramatic. So, but contrast this, if you were to take Lydia, who is a 4, and Stacy, who is an 8, that plants destroy the earth. They consume it. So she may be in a position where if she were to work with her for too long, they might need to, kind of reflect, walk away, whereas the earth sometimes can be stable, but it also can kind of be broody. Like where you hold on to emotions and then just might kind of erupt. And that might not necessarily be you, but these are...
No, it's her.
But,
there's nothing about that.
Yeah.
I'm not an eruptive, but I'm going to be more direct.
And I'm going to be
sooner than other people, maybe.
That'll be okay with me.
Right.
I would never say she sucks the energy out of the room. Not often.
No more talking for you.
Sometimes a little bit of gentleness might be better in certain situations where Lydia might be more diplomatic, whereas you may be an excellent leader, but you may lack that, sense of tact, and you may hold on to things instead of processing them in the moment. It's just one of those things. So hopefully this kind of helps. Does anybody have any questions about the 8 mansion theory? Does this make sense?
Are you saying mansion or mention?
Mansion. And why is it called 8 mansion? There's 8 directions, and so when I'm working, I work through 2 different lenses in classical feng shui as far as this goes. There's the 9 palaces, which includes the center. So if you're familiar with the type of feng shui that makes your house or business look like a Chinese restaurant, you're familiar with this type of bagua. They separate it, and is a generalization, still applies to classical feng shui, but there are many other things that is general, it's a default, it's not where you should look for the end-all types of solutions, but, so that's the 9 palaces. 8 mansion has to do with looking at the Bagua, has no center, it has 8 directions, not 9 places or palaces. So the reason why it's called 8 mansion, you've got 8 different directions, and, so yeah, there you've got the 8 mansions, it's feng shui for the person, you've got feng shui for your house or your homes, and you've also got feng shui that helps you understand how the hills and the rivers or open plains for that matter will impact you. So those are the general 3 different levels of feng shui. Well, I really want to thank UD of Nashville for hosting this class. I hope you enjoyed it. I know I certainly did. And this is the end, so have a great week.
Well, you know, it's really funny, you're in your really smiling right now too. Yeah, it makes sense. I mean,
How do you see
because she's been here before.
Sure, right. That's what we think about engagement, kind of simplifies things. And at least we take that.
You're so funny, my dear.
Of course.
Oops, I'm sorry.
Okay, all right.
Hey, number 4, you want to cook?
This was 8 years. Show up and is something. We went to the basement, you know, like
We were in the basement. We have a basement room that is underground size, and then the front is bigger. And